Hi.
Hi. It's so good to meet a fellow Mary. How did you hear about me, Mary?
Julie Blair.
Oh, awesome. Is Julie going to be here as well?
I think she is.
Okay, yeah, I thought I saw that she registered.
Yeah, I think she is. I haven't talked to her today yet, so yeah.
Hi, Victoria.
Hi, Mary. How are you?
I'm great. It's so good to see
Great.
you.
Yeah, you too. You too. It's
Is
nice
it
to be
freezing
here.
cold up there?
It's a little cold today. Yeah, not terrible. We're managing, but
Yeah.
we keep getting some snow and off
Yeah.
and on. Today was okay, but yeah. So
Hi, Ebeth. Hi, Serena.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so happy to see you. That is such a cute hat.
Oh, thank you. It's snowing outside and I didn't feel like doing my hair today.
Yeah, well, you look fantastic. That's
Thank
like the
you.
perfect solve.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you. And Serena, hi. It's so good
Hello.
to see you again.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, good. And remind me, you're in Florida, right?
I am.
You're in
And it's been in the 80s today. And I had the house opened up because it was so much warmer outside than inside.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Serena, now you're just bragging.
She does
I
this.
know.
Can I just tell you, she does this every morning because we walk together in the morning and I'm like, Mom, it is 24 degrees. She's like, it's cold here.
Special guest Jamie Deal is here. Hi, Jamie. Are we gonna get to see you? Oh, maybe she's not connected to audio yet. And Mary, I forgot to ask where you are located.
So I'm in like Madison, Alabama with Julie. Same
Oh, okay.
area. Yeah.
And do you guys work together?
We're friends from church.
Oh, nice. That's lovely. That's lovely. So we have Alabama, we have New Jersey, we have DC, we have Tampa, Florida, and then Serena, where in Florida are you?
I'm in Winter Springs, Florida, which is the greater Orlando area.
Wow, this is so cool. This is so cool. What a magical bunch here. I'm so thrilled to have you all here, and I think we're gonna have a couple more people come in, so I will keep my eyes peeled for that. But the reason that we're all here is because I created this webinar out of a question that I get asked the most, which is, what do I do if I don't know what my vision is? And I talk about vision all the time, and I realize that some people don't even know what their vision is. And I want to support all of you in knowing that there's a lot you can do in the unknowing. There's a lot you can do in the unknown space. Julie Blair, hi. Oh, she's connecting. Hi, Julie Blair. It's so good to see you.
Oh, hi.
And thank you for inviting a fellow namesake.
Hey, I see
Mary.
Mary. Both Mary friends.
I know, 2 Marys. This is so cool.
Sorry, I'm a little late. I got a little mixed up.
Oh, don't worry about it. So what I wanted to know, I wanted to ask everybody, what is it about this webinar, the title of this webinar, that got you to think, this would be a good investment of my time? Would you share with me?
Because I have no clue what I feel like after I finish school, I'm just not sure what I'm gonna do. So just because I do not know what my vision is for my future. So
Yeah, thanks, Mary. Thanks for sharing that. And Ebeth, you were about to come in.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I feel like I've got so many like ideas kind of like all over the place that it's hard for me to have a like crystal clear like vision of things. So
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So Mary shared, thank you so much, Mary, so vulnerably that, I'm done with school. Now what do I do? And how do I know what to do?
Almost done with school.
Almost done with school. Got it. And Ebeth, you're feeling that like, which I also heard very recently, like all of the ideas, like how on earth do I figure out which one to move forward with? Yeah. Victoria, did you want to share? Oh, Serena, you were about to share.
Well, I am entering a new phase of my life. I feel that what I had wanted to do for so many decades is over. And I am entering a new phase alone. And I don't know exactly where my vision is. And I need some direction.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Serena. Thank you. Who else? Victoria, will you come in and share?
Hi, everyone. Yes, definitely what Beth said really resonated with me. And I think having lots of ideas is part of the issue. And also just, I can see certain things with clarity, but I keep getting stuck. Like there's pieces of it that don't seem clear. Sometimes it's the how, or sometimes it's the, I know I want to do X, Y, Z, but I don't necessarily see, what does that work really look like? And I don't see the clients being attracted, and those types of things I think are, so I think there's also that balance of the wants of like, oh, I would want to do X, Y, Z, and I would want to do A, B, C too. But right, being able to put that into a clear-cut vision, I think is part of the challenge.
Yeah, you know what
Yeah.
I just heard? I heard, you hear that term a lot, like go do market research. It's almost what I heard you say, like I'm going to do the market research to give me evidence to believe in my vision. Does that feel accurate?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I think too that aspect of an investment of time when you don't know if profit is going to come along with it. And just really being able to commit to, you know what, I'm just going to do this because I want to. And if it results in people paying me, great. And it's just like so scary to, think about investing. Although I like, why aren't we doing the things that we enjoy, right? Like, if you have, like, even if you look at it as a hobby, right? Like we put money towards our hobbies, right?
Yeah,
So-
and Victoria, I so appreciate your share because I think a lot of us feel that fear that we're investing our time or our money and that we're going to run out of time and money. So that we only have a specific amount of time and money. So we have to choose really carefully.
Yes, exactly. Yes. You have to choose. Yes. Choose carefully.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Oh, sure. My pleasure.
Thank you. Pam, good to see you. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
And so Pam, we're just going around the room and sharing what caused us to sign up for tonight's webinar, which is titled, what do I do if I don't know what my vision is?
Well, because I don't know what my vision is. I mean, as you know, in the last year and a half, I made major changes, moved, downsized, like major move from Ohio to Texas, and the company ended and went out of business. So lots of changes. So yep, that's why.
Thank you, Pam. I'm really glad you're here. And
you.
Julie and Jamie, the two J's. I haven't heard from either of you. Would either of you like to pop in?
Sure. I guess like with the pandemic, what happened to me was I had a vision board. I had all these ideas of things I wanted to do, places to go, people to meet, all these things. And then now I don't want to do any of those things, basically because of the pandemic. Like I don't want to go on a cruise. I don't want to travel. I don't want to meet new people. So what am I going to do? I don't know. So that's kind of where I am now. I've been doing little projects at home, but I'd like to have kind of an overarching vision, I guess.
Yeah, thank you, Julie. Thanks for it's so common to have a dream, and a vision board is a dream. I mean, a vision is a dream. It's so common to feel derailed by things that are happening in our environment, which I'm going to call the facts and the conditions. It is so common to feel completely derailed by a fact or a condition that obviously we didn't predict, that we can't predict. It's so easy to just completely wanna, and I remember you sharing this, Julie, you just threw your vision board away.
Right.
Yeah.
I just tossed it. And I just didn't want to do any of those things anymore. And I'm like, well, I guess I better start over. So.
Well, I'm really glad you're here. And I congratulate you for staying in the conversation.
Thanks.
I do, because it's really uncomfortable being in the unknowing. But you're in the right place, and tonight we're going to get some movement going. I promise you that. Jamie Deal. Hi.
Hi, friends.
Hi.
Some of your sweet familiar faces, other are sweet unfamiliar faces. Oh my God, Ebeth, I love you in a hat. That's adorable.
So cute.
Thank
So
you.
cute. So I would say that your post on Instagram about tonight's meetup just came at a moment where I think the universe was telling me to hop on. So I'm glad it came along. I do visioning because of your teachings and exercises, Mary. And I felt like coming here tonight could like maybe ground me a little bit. I'm one who I guess maybe you can't vision too much. So I would explain it as too many little visions that are awesome. And sometimes I feel like, is it time to get a little bit more focused, Jamie? So I thought that I could come here and feel some practical ideas for movement or getting a little more pared down. I'm almost like a nutty professor when it comes to my vision sometimes. So
Yeah.
I was hoping to like pare down some thoughts tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm really glad you're here. To decide means to cut. Did you know that? It means to take things out and really decide on something. One thing that I want to just preface this entire presentation with, because I am going to bring up slides, is that I want to support all of you in knowing something. It's that you're not broken and nothing's wrong. The vision is not there to make it right. It's not that today you're broken and the vision will fix you. Today you're already awesome. And you're already living an incredible life. For you to be on this webinar tonight means you have internet and something to look at, which is probably a computer, and you're all probably sitting in your homes. So we're all living incredible lives already. And when you don't feel the clarity around your vision, we can bring that energy of of school back into our lives. Mary, you're still in school. Like, I gotta get this paper done. I want to get a good grade. I want to get a good GPA. I want to get a really good job when I graduate. And we can bring that energy even into a conversation about our vision. And I want to invite you into thinking about this like just a new adventure. Like life is just inviting you into a new adventure. And there's no getting it wrong. There's no messing this up. No grades are being given. No time could possibly be wasted. No money, no resource could possibly be wasted on you and your precious life. Because you're not here by accident. You are divinely appointed. Not by happenstance and not randomly. You are here on purpose because life wanted to experience itself by means of you. If you think of life as everything, it said, I want to experience the world through Julie's eyes. And I want to experience the world through Pam and through Jamie and through Ebeth and Victoria and Serena and Mary. I want to experience life through your body and your eyes and all of the things that you do with it. And I don't have a chalkboard in the sky that says, well, Julie better do this or she's out of here. I gave you the ability to feel. Life gave us the ability to have feelings and to have an imagination and to have desire and to have discontent. And all of these are our greatest gifts. They are truly our greatest gifts. It's not a matter of getting it right or wrong or being good or bad. It's a matter of new desire, new vision, new journey, new adventure, new desire, new vision, new adventure. And it doesn't end. It doesn't end at graduation day or the day we retire from our job. Hi, Sarah. I'm so glad you're here. It doesn't end until our last breath. And then we don't have to talk about what happens after that because we all probably hold a little bit of a different belief there, but it doesn't matter. We keep visioning until our last breath. And we're gonna be doing something, right? We're gonna be doing something. So we might as well do it with intent and have some fun doing it. So I'm going to share my screen because I put together some slides which help me focus and really pour as much as I can into you during our time together. But I'll do some share and then stop share because I haven't figured out how to look at all of you while I also look at the slides, which I need to figure out how to do. But let me go ahead and get into the presentation for tonight. How do I do that? Here we go, present. Okay, so we talked about why we're here. I'm going to go through, I'm going to define what we're talking about when we talk about vision. We've heard a lot the word purpose, like our purpose in life, and vision isn't the same thing. So I think that that's a very pressurized way of putting it, our purpose in life. We're going to talk about what I mean by vision. Why do we care? Why is this an important topic for us to be talking about? And what keeps us from feeling clarity? We got into some of that earlier tonight when, Victoria expressed that feeling of like, what if I make the wrong choice and waste time? Or Ebeth is like, I have all these ideas, like which one do I move forward with? Jamie is feeling a little bit like that. Mary, you're about to graduate and it's like, what do I do next? What happens after that? Serena, you're starting a completely new chapter of your life. This is totally brand new. All elements have changed. What do you do now? And Jamie, you also expressed that you have like a lot of ideas and what do I move forward with? Pam, you're also in a whole new chapter, a whole new moment in life. And Sarah, I hope to hear from you too during the presentation. I just wanted to get into the slides so I don't spend all of our time. So let's talk about what keeps us from getting clear. And then let's talk about what we can do in the unknowing. Okay? Because it's not only about being unclear or clear. There's a lot of gray in between the black and white. So what can we do in that gray area? Okay, so when I talk about vision, what I'm talking about is a desire. And when we have a desire, there's an acknowledgement of discontent. And when I'm talking about a vision, I'm talking about a full spectrum vision of your life. I'm not only talking about your career. I'm not only talking about your time and money freedom, or your relationships, or your health and well-being, because I would never want to empower you to think of one at the mercy of another. I want to empower you in thinking about your life in a full spectrum way. It's not that your business gets really insanely great but you don't have time with your relationships, or you let your health and well-being go. My encouragement and what I would love for you is to create a vision for a full spectrum life that you would love to live. Vision comes out of having a desire. And because we live in a world of contrast, night and day, hot and cold, where Serena lives and where I live, right? We live in a world of contrast. The contrast helps us see what we would prefer. That's how we create our preferences. It's not, oh my God, this is horrible, so I have to go find something to fix it. The contrast can happen in very subtle, nuanced ways. And in fact, the more you become aware of this, the quicker you can act on it, and you can live even more of your life in the preferred state rather than the unpreferred state. Even when you are there, you will continue to have desire and discontent. So when I talk about a vision, I empower you to think of every aspect of your life in a way that you would love it to be. In a way that you would really love it to be, without thinking for a second about how it's going to happen. Which I know is a difficult thing, believe me. And tonight the topic is, what do you know if you don't have a clear image of all of those things that I just spoke about? What do you do if you come to a seminar and somebody says, bring your vision to mind, and you're just coming up with blanks? Or you're coming up with like a million things and it's like, you're like, which one do I grab? Like all the idea bubbles just start popping and you're like, which one do I grab? So what do we do in this state? So here's my promise to you. I promise you that you do have a vision. You do have a clear vision. In fact, we're always visioning. Visioning is the ability to mentally rehearse something that hasn't yet happened. So you probably have a vision of what you're going to do right after this. You probably have a vision of where you're going to sleep tonight. You probably have a vision of tomorrow, some idea of what tomorrow will probably look like. So that is your visioning capacity, and it doesn't turn off. It's not like we're turning it on tonight, but what we are doing tonight, the purpose of this conversation is to say, how can I use my visioning faculty to create more preferred things, more experiences that I would love to live? So in my opinion, the question isn't, what do I do when I don't have a vision? The question is, what's keeping me from hearing my vision? So let's get into that a little bit. This is the problem. This is the problem that we have all faced and we all continue to face. But there's a difference between who we truly want to be and what we would really love, and who we think we're supposed to be, and who we think we're capable of being. And these two people are often voices that are playing a tug of war in our mind. And I'd like to share with you the tug of war that I lived. I want to share a little bit about my story. And when I share this, my intention is to share information in a way that you might think of yourself. So as I'm talking about me, please think to yourself, does this relate to me in the way I feel in this state of unknowing about my vision? Or in this state of where maybe I'm feeling the tug of war inside of me? So when I was about to graduate college, Mary, I had no clue what I was going to do. And when I started college and they asked, what are you going to major in? I was like, I have no idea. This is the first time anyone's asking me what my opinion is in my life. I have no clue. Like, I have not been taught how to answer the question, what would I love? In fact, I've been taught that my natural instincts actually take me to things that I shouldn't be doing. I was actually taught to distrust the voice that told me, you really like doing this. So I was living this model of do, have, be. And that looks like this. I go to college, so I go do the college thing, and then I have the education, and then I can be successful. I can be productive. I can be, when we go a little deeper, I can be accepted. And when we go a little deeper than that, I can be worthy. If I do this, then I can have this, so I can be this. And the way that that lived out in me was that I thought my job was to fix problems. And it wasn't a matter of finding the intersection of fixing a problem along with what you would really love to fix. It was a matter of find the biggest fire to put out all the time. It's always yours to solve. So the way that looked in college was I had an inkling of things that I liked. I did a senior project on Christian Dior. It was the most fun I had ever had on a school project in my life. It woke me up to this idea that fashion and creativity really interested me. And I loved nice things. I loved going to the really nice hair salon where my aunt worked and getting really nice haircuts and my eyebrows waxed and really nice experiences like that, like luxury. I loved that stuff. I bought a pair of designer blue jeans my senior year of college with my loan money. I mean, I love nice things. But there was this other part of me, the tug of war part of me, that said, what about sweatshop labor and the environment? And what about all of the people who don't have all of the things that you have? And what about you aligning yourself with the most vulnerable populations in the world so that you can show that you are here and you're going to pay your dues? That you're really going to earn your place on this planet. And instead of taking more and more and more, you've already taken as much pie as you can have. And if you keep taking more pie, you're going to be taking somebody else's pie away. That was the other side of me that was at the tug of war. There's not enough to go around. If you keep taking, and if you keep doing things that you love, you're taking more good from other people. So that carried all the way into the relationship that I was in. The relationship that I was in the day that I couldn't take it anymore. I was in a relationship with a woman, and we decided, it was my idea, to move her mother into our apartment so that we could take care of her mother and we could take care of my partner, and I could fix everybody's problems, be the greatest financial contributor to the household, work a full-time job, plus start my life coaching business. And I was just exhausted. I mean, I was at total and complete burnout. And that was the day that I heard my mentor on a summit, on an online summit. That was the day that I heard her say, I have a paint by numbers system to spiritual success. I had no clue what she was talking about. But everything in my body told me to spend more time with this woman. What is she talking about? What could she possibly be talking about? Everything in my body needed to know more. And when I got on a call with her and began to paint a picture of a life that I would love to live, when she told me that wasn't there randomly, it wasn't there out of selfishness or out of ego, which is what we confuse a lot with vision and desire. It's not there because of ego. It's there because it is actually the way that you will contribute the greatest amount to the greatest number of people in your lifetime. It is the way that life is inviting you. And you can't do it all. I always say, life is an all-you-can-eat buffet and you have one stomach. And what that means to me, what that meant to me is, number one, that everyone's problems in the world, my job here is not to fix everybody's problems in the world. And in fact, the do, have, be model isn't the way it actually works. It actually works the reverse. You be the person so that you can do the thing from the energy of the person, and you can have the experience that you would love to have. You be her first. It's actually the reverse. And what's happened for me in my life, because I understand visioning, and I understand so deeply that there isn't one person on this planet who wasn't given this capacity, who isn't here for a reason by divine appointment. There isn't a person on this planet who is more gifted or less gifted with imagination. We all have imagination. What's begun to happen for me is that I've begun to peel back the layers of should, and I gotta earn my place here on this planet. And I gotta suffer, I gotta earn my keep. I gotta show the universe that I will suffer so that it can really see that I'm grateful for being here. What I know to be true today is that when I tap into my desire, just like you, it lines me up with energy that has nothing to do with giving all the time. It lines me up with energy of deep, loving, unconditionally loved and cherished that I can then give to the world from that place. That I'm not giving from an empty cup that says, you have to give it all away just to earn your place here. I'm giving from a place of knowing how deeply cherished I am, just like all of you are. And that my desire is mine to do. But I don't have to do anything, just like you don't have to do anything to earn your place here. There's no earning your place here. Do you know what reminds you and what can remind me of knowing that? You're breathing. And you don't have to do anything to earn that breath that's moving through you. You don't have to do a thing because you're meant to be here. So what's happened is that I look at my day, I look at the activities on my day, getting tonight to get to hang out with all of you, and I cannot wait to get started. I love my calendar. I love the things that I do on my calendar. I work for a technology company that wasn't looking for a life coach, but I found them and created a life coaching program inside the technology company because I love to do this so much. I found the love of my life. I peeled back the layers of my relationship is not about me fixing somebody else. And I found somebody that's truly my partner in life. Not somebody that I have to fix, not a job to do, an enjoyment, a fulfillment, a satisfaction, an eagerness. That is the energy which I come from in life. And that's the energy which attracts back to me. And when we're talking about vision, it's so important to think of the energy that we're coming from. That's why I wanted to preface this entire conversation with, if you don't know exactly what your vision is, it does not indicate brokenness. It does not indicate there's something wrong. It indicates there's something that's inviting you. So what I would like to get into for a minute is what keeps us from just immediately hearing that answer to the question, what would I love? Because the tug of war happens immediately. When we ask the question, what would I love? There is almost, and I know this for myself from being in the study of this for 3 solid years, there's not even a moment sometimes where you can even hear the answer before the filter comes in. The filter of how in the hell is that going to happen? How is that going to help people? There's not enough time. You're wasting your energy. It's like you can't even hear the answer because all of the voices get kicked up so immediately. It's like all the dogs start barking really loud, even when you begin to engage with the question. So what I would love to support you in knowing is that there are reasons that you can't hear the question, what would I love? And my encouragement is to think as you see the ways that I'm going through tonight, where does that resonate with you? Can you relate to any of these reasons? So here's one. And I think, Victoria, I think you kind of touched on this when you were talking about, what kind of feels like it's keeping you from hearing it. But what if I get really specific about what I would love, but I never actually get to live it? So this is what I would call a fear of disappointment. And we will go to the ends of the earth not to feel disappointment. I think it's our survival instinct. It's like get away from the feelings that you don't want to feel so that we can keep surviving in this beautiful comfort zone. But when you really break that down, disappointment's going to be a part of life. We all know that. There are things that we just don't want to happen that are going to happen. So if you're going to feel it anyway, right? If you're going to feel it anyway, you could say to that part of you, I'm probably going to feel disappointment anyway. So if you're talking right now, let's just see what happens when we go down the path in our imagination. Let's just allow the path to reveal itself in our imagination. I'm not saying I'm going to do it. Doesn't mean you have to take any action, but just to go down the path in your imagination and say to that part that might want to say, don't even take one more step. Because it literally does. You begin to entertain something and the brain's like, don't even take one more step. You can just say to that part, I understand that you're protecting me from disappointment. I want to keep exploring. Let's see what else is out here when I go down this path. Like Ebeth, when you're talking about, I have all these ideas. Well, what if you allow yourself to go down the whole path of one of those ideas? And what that tactically means is write it out. Write it out, the whole thing. Another common question is, what if it's not God's plan? Something that comes up a lot in this conversation, especially around when we're talking about purpose, is what if it's not God's plan? And my encouragement is to think about your definition of God in that moment. So when we're talking about a God that would make it really complicated and hard for you to figure out what your vision is, ask yourself if that's the God that you want to believe in. Do you want to believe in a God who makes it really difficult for you to figure out what your vision is? I personally decided not. I decided that that's not the God I want to believe in. I decided, and you can decide this too, that you can believe in a God that actually communicates with you through your feelings. And the nuance of that means, are you enjoying it? Is it waking you up even just a little bit? What do you enjoy? What have you enjoyed in the last 24 hours? What's been something that you've read that's really caused you to smile? Is there a conversation that you had that you could have kept having forever and ever and it never stopped? Or a book you were reading, or a movie you were watching? Or did you see an article in a magazine that just lifted your spirits That, to me, in my definition of God, is God talking to you and through you, through your feelings. That's your guidance system. So if the question comes up, what if this isn't God's plan? Ask yourself if it's actually coming from a definition of a God that you want to keep believing in. Is that the definition of God that you want to keep believing in? And then the other question is, am I coming from a place of believing that I could mess it up? Is there some belief in me that there's only a specific amount of pie? And if I use this piece on this, I gotta white knuckle the rest of that pie because there's only so much left. That's called scarcity mindset. The other thing I wanted to move through were, so Gay Hendricks wrote this book that I reference quite a bit with this conversation about visioning. And he wrote a book called The Big Leap. And I will say that your vision is a big leap. When you really begin to entertain living a life that you would absolutely love in every area of your life, it is a leap, especially when you don't know how to do it. So often what happens is this question will arise, and you might not even be conscious of it. So ask yourself if you're feeling any resonance here. But it will come up, what if my dream asks me to do something that will hurt those around me? And here's what that can look like. So disloyalty and abandonment. This is one of the 4 hidden barriers to success from the book by Gay Hendricks. Disloyalty and abandonment. If I go for my dream, so this can happen like in success. If I get really successful, are my friends still going to like me? Or are they going to feel that abandonment? What if I don't text them back right away? What if I'm not in the same city as them anymore? What if I move away? What if my dream becomes me moving to another place and I'm no longer neighbors with my neighbor and I always take care of my neighbor's cat? And then what if I can't be there to take care of my neighbor's cat? I mean, this is literally stuff that will take you out of being in your vision. Believing that more success will bring a bigger burden. And I've heard this so many times and I completely understand it. When you begin to entertain creating a certain level of income for yourself, this can often immediately trigger, well, I could never work that many hours. I have all these other things to attend to. I don't have enough hours in a day to generate that income. And what you're doing in that moment is you are agreeing that that income could only be generated in one way. And that's working really hard. It's working nights and weekends. And the only way it can happen in that way. When all of us know there are a lot of people on this planet who are not working nights and weekends that are making a very healthy amount of money. Every single one of us knows that. In fact, in the circle of my mentor, there's an example of a woman. She's one of my very dear friends. She owns a retail shop in Mystic, Connecticut. 2020, okay, it's a brick and mortar retail shop in Mystic, Connecticut. In 2020, she had her highest sales ever. Her shop was closed for 3 months. She worked 10 to 12 hours a week. She generated more income for herself. Her retail brick and mortar was closed more than it had ever been closed before. She generated more sales and more income than she ever has before in being open for 10 years. In a year of a global pandemic. So I'm not just talking about the Kardashians right now. I'm talking about a woman that I could introduce you all to. She's in my phone and she's living this reality. It is not impossible. What happens is if we can't see the way, we deem it impossible. The crime of outshining. So this goes back to this question. What if my dream hurts somebody around me? The crime of outshining. What if somebody else feels small because I get so big? What if somebody else gets hurt feelings because I did something and we said we both were going to do it and I'm the one that actually did it? Right? What if I can afford a designer handbag and none of my friends can? Right? In this moment, we have decided that we're going to make ourselves small to manage the impression of others. We're going to manage somebody else's emotions and keep ourselves small so that we can make sure they're okay. And I know we all know this on an intellectual level, that making ourselves small does not serve anybody. It doesn't serve anybody. And nobody's emotions are your job except yours. The fourth hidden barrier is the feeling of being fundamentally flawed. And I really touched on that in my own story. The feeling of fundamentally flawed is feeling that there's a black spot on my soul and I got to earn my place here. I got to earn my existence. I'll share with you a text message that I got from somebody who's a very religious person. I mean, really, has an amazing relationship with God, and texted me, I look back at this circumstance and I used to say that, I think it was an angel talking through me because there's no way it could have been the Holy Spirit because I'm not that important, that the Holy Spirit could have been talking through me. That to me is so sad because there isn't a human being on this planet who is more or less important, who is more or less holy, who is more or less divine. That's another definition of a God that it would encourage you to question. If you're walking around feeling like somebody's more important than you are, you can't come to this process of visioning from a place of deserving. And you are all so deserving. You are all so deserving of absolutely anything that you would love to live. If you love it, it matters. And you matter. You matter. There is nothing that happens in nature that's random, right? Nothing's random. Meteorologists predicted the snow. We know how sand is created on the beach. Nothing is random. You are not random, and your desire is not random. Is this resonating with everyone? Are any of those questions that I brought up in response to the conundrum, what can feel like a conundrum, of I don't know what my vision is any of that kicking up anything in you that you would be comfortable sharing with the group? Jamie.
Yeah, when I go over the 4 barriers, which I'm familiar with the Big Leap, I love it. 3 of the 4 speak to me and 1 speaks to me the most. And it's, disloyalty and abandonment, what will people think when I'm successful? I feel when you talk about that tug of war and what starts to come up as soon as you start to dream or maybe you do that whole be, do, have process. And I'm instantly, sometimes I can see my grandmother, sometimes I can see my father, sometimes I can see my aunt, and they're all saying the same thing. Who does she think she is? And they're not necessarily speaking to me, but that's what I watched them say about successful people. So that comes up for me a lot when we talk about, you know, a barrier to success. It's almost like you're supposed to be embarrassed of success.
Absolutely.
Trying desperately to shed it, and I will, but that's what comes up for me.
Oh, Jamie, thank you. Thank you. Oh, that voice. Who does she think she is? Who is she not to? Who is she not to? What would this world be like if more people like you went for your dream? What would it be like if you stood and said, I know I'm worthy, and I stand worthy knowing that you are worthy too? So when I take these actions and I stand as the woman in my dream, I am in fact standing for the woman in your dream. What else is coming up? Anybody else? Victoria?
So I feel like I'm not really as bad off as I think I am. And I say that because in looking at the other list of 4 things, vocation, time and money, freedom, relationships, health and well-being, I feel like I'm really close to being content in all of those areas. Sure, there's, you know, some places for improvement, and I can certainly say, oh, well, you know, I kind of wish X, Y, Z, but I mean, I feel like I have a lot to be grateful for every day, every moment. I mean, I'm you know, like I'm close to when I think to myself, well, what does contentment in this area look like? It's mainly there. It does not look at all like what I would like say in words. I think it's like prior to thinking about it, I would say I would not think that it would be looking like the way it actually is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of like, well, does it matter? And the other thing was when you asked the question, what have you enjoyed in the last 24 hours? And I was able to write like 7 things down. So like, what am I?
Wonderful. And Victoria, I just want to support you in knowing that this is not a conversation of things are really dark and we need to start visioning and fix
Sure.
The vision actually puts a spotlight on what you just said. It helps us see more of what is so amazing about our current reality.
Yes.
But we're gonna live a future. We're gonna live a future. We're gonna keep using the visioning capacity to create some sort of vision for the future. So we might as well use it to tap into something that we would love. Because tomorrow can look a lot like today. And usually it does, because we're thinking about 80% of the same thoughts that we thought yesterday. Or we could design tomorrow. Or we could go through the details of our day tomorrow thinking, what would I actually love? Somebody to be making me French toast in my kitchen, deliver it to me in bed, and then a personal stylist to be taking my clothing out of my closet and my hair and makeup done so that I can go on Zoom and I don't have to touch any of it myself. We are allowed to entertain all of that fun stuff in our minds whenever we want. The problem is we don't cultivate that conversation enough. We cultivate the conversation of, what do I have to get done? Oh my God, the bills need to be paid. Life goes on, chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug. more often than we get into the visioning space, then we get into this fun space. So if we're gonna live a future, which we all are, using the visioning capacity with intent and design rather than on autopilot is just a really exciting way to live. It's just a really fun way to live. And it also brings you in closer touch with how unlimited and brilliant you are by your very nature. By your very nature, just you being here. Okay, I'm going to go back to sharing the rest of these slides. Okay, so how can we court our vision? So the reason that I use this terminology, you know, we're talking about like attracting a mate or, you know, and you're like courting somebody. There's what you want to do when you're in that energy, when you're attracting somebody, is you do things that make you attractive to them, right? It's a good feeling. It's like you wear something special, you are saying things in a special way. You know, you're like excited for it to come around and you're excited to talk to it and you're courting it. You're courting that person, and you can do the same thing with your vision. You can do the same thing with your vision. And in fact, what Victoria just spoke about, this idea that, oh my God, my life is really great. And I just took the time to sit down and realize that this is the perfect energy to vision from. Because if you're coming from the energy of, oh my God, everything's so hard, I got to vision and fix it all up, that's the energy you're putting into your vision. And the energy that you take the action from is just important as the action, just as important as the action. So let me just give you a little example of that. The energy you take the action from is just as important as the action. So let's just say you live with somebody and you would love that somebody to take the trash out for you. I'm going to give you 2 different ways that you could ask that person to please take the trash out for you. Oh my God, you never take the trash out. I always have to do it. Will you please take the trash out? Okay, so there's one way. Here's another way. Honey, I just have so much going on. Would you mind taking the trash out? That is the same action coming from 2 different energies. And it's so obvious to know which one are you going to get the reaction that you would prefer. It's so easy for us to see that. I'm talking about the same thing when we're talking about courting our vision. We have to be cognizant of the energy we're taking the action from. And if you are feeling like you're in a place of, oh my God, everything needs to be fixed, life could not get any worse, you're literally bringing that. And I know none of you are thinking that in those terms. I'm being extreme, but when you're in that state of mind, you're bringing it into the visioning process. So I want to support you in coming up with ways to get you in a place that's really good to cultivate so that you can cultivate more of what you want in your vision. So first, I highly encourage you to continually ask the question, what would I love? And the example that I just gave you, literally entertaining the idea that I live in a place where somebody comes in and makes me an amazing breakfast, somebody pulls my clothing out of the closet, gets my hair and makeup done for my day of work. That wasn't coming from nowhere. I think that would be fabulous. I think that would be very fun to live like that. Right? I mean, that would be like a very fun way to live, for somebody to say, Mary Houlihan, what would you like for breakfast tomorrow? Like as if I lived in a hotel and room service was going to deliver it to me tomorrow. Yeah, that would be awesome. So for fun, look, I mean, you see how you're like smiling and this is like kind of a funny conversation? You can do that with yourself. Have fun. Have fun with this question, what would I love? Have fun with it. You know what I would love right now? To be in a warm environment where I could go out and hike. I would love to be in the Hollywood Hills right now, in that weather right now. Okay, and then the next thing that I highly encourage you to do, or wait, sorry, I want to go back to what would I love? When you ask that question, my encouragement is to allow yourself to hear the answer. You don't have to do anything. So notice that part of you. Notice that part of you that won't even entertain something before you're like, oh my God, I don't have bread and eggs to make French toast. I'm not even going to entertain the idea that French toast could be my breakfast today because I know that bread and eggs aren't in my kitchen already. Notice that part because it will so immediately creep up. Have fun. Allow yourself to entertain and hear the answer. And when you hear the part that needs to find the way to do it, immediately say, I love you so much for taking all of that amazing action. But right now we're just having fun. I'm just playing. There's a cook in my kitchen making me French toast as we speak. We're just playing. Okay, notice what you do feel clear about and write it down. That's what Victoria just did. I love that you just took that action, Victoria. It's so awesome. Yeah, what are you clear about? What are you feeling really clear about? Pam, my inclination is to believe you're going to be in Austin for a little while. You probably feel pretty clear about that. So ride that wave, ride that clarity wave. When you're feeling that confusion and that discombobulation, Ebeth, my inclination is to believe that you want to do something with style and clothing. So you feel clear about that probably. Ride that clarity wave. Ride it. Notice what you're noticing. What does it feel like in my body when I know I want to work in fashion and style. And I know I want to help people, women, feel more confident in their bodies. I know that for sure. Let it guide you. Let it talk to you. Generate gratitude for clarity before it even comes to you. Most of us were taught, Jamie, this is coming from Conversations with God. You're gonna notice this. Most of us were taught to pray in a way that's supplication. Most of us were taught to pray for things so that, oh my God, please help them come. Please help them come. And my encouragement is to pray in a space of, I am so grateful for my crystal clear vision that I am on fire for. I feel so aligned and alive when I read this vision and I see it like a high definition movie in my mind. You generate gratitude for it even before you have it. And that's also the way that you vision. That's also the way that you vision. That is the be, do, have model. You're being the woman with the clear vision before all of the other pieces fall into place. What I'm not saying is not to take action, but I think we all know that. We're all going to be taking action. There's no stopping the action. But when you're creating gratitude for something that hasn't even started yet, or you haven't experienced yet in the three-dimensional world, you are beginning to be the woman who's living that life. Because that woman would be generating gratitude for whatever that is. And if that is to have a clear vision, generate gratitude for clarity. I love reading my vision. Thank you, God. I mean, you don't have to use the word God, but thank you for this vision, the clarity I feel. I feel all this direction and movement, and allow it to inform you. The final step, and I'm going to tell you, I work with a lot of people who don't even take the step of writing the vision. They don't even take the step of writing the vision. People who have seen my course, they have been in coaching with me, people that I coach for the technology company. This is, and believe me, I understand completely. It took me 3 months to write my first vision when I signed up with Felicia. It took me 3 months because I didn't understand how important and significant it was, the process of it. So support and accountability are a massive part of this, not only just to do it, but also to put it in language to keep impressing the thing that you want to happen and take away all of the things that you don't want to happen. Here's what I mean by this. I just, and I read visions a lot. So you'll say something like, I'm so happy and grateful that now I generate $250,000 a year. Thank God I don't have all of that credit card debt anymore. And I'm not swimming in a sea of credit card bills that are up to my neck, suffocating me. I mean, literally thinking about, it's crazy, but we do that. We begin to, even in the space where there's this beautiful vision, this holy conversation, we bring in the past, and it's insidious. So I really help you take away the language that you don't want to keep impressing so that you have a document of something that is completely clean of all of the things that you don't want to create more of. And it's trickier than you might think. It's trickier than you might think. So I have an invitation for you. What time is it? 6:12. Okay, we have plenty of time. I have an invitation for you. I know we haven't met Sarah yet, but Sarah, as soon as I stop sharing, I would love for you to come in. But this group is together tonight. And we're talking about having some confusion around what our vision is. What if we met back here for the next 4 weeks in a row? Same time, same place. We support one another and we hold one another accountable to the vision that is knocking at your soul. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here on this call tonight. And here's what that would look like. You hear your voice of inspired insight because you have me guiding you and you're making an investment in yourself every week. You flesh out and document a full vision for a life that you would love. You begin a daily visioning practice, and I hold you accountable to that. A daily visioning practice. You don't shut your computer down, maybe revisit your notes from tonight and move on with your life. You create a daily visioning practice, and you begin to work with these powerful laws. The law of attraction. We usually bundle them all up into the law of attraction, but there are several. Without anything changing in your world, you begin to see new things, new possibilities, things that have always been there, but you didn't have any awareness of it. What we're actually doing in this work is we're becoming more aware of what's already here. A vision isn't actually a future event. Vision is already here. It's a matter of us lining up to it. This is my invitation tonight for all of you. I have this time available on my calendar for the next 4 weeks. It would be a 1 hour invitation, not a 2 hour. Tonight it was a 2 hour invitation. But what if this divinely appointed group came back together for the next 4 weeks and supported each other in creating a vision for a life that you would love? And you don't shut your computer down tonight and maybe revisit your notes a couple times. You actually hold yourself accountable to the voice that's coming alive in you, to the voice that told you to sign up for tonight. Let me see if I put my next slide. Okay, here's what that would look like. This would be 4 live visioning calls with me. The dates are February 17th, the 24th, March 3rd, and March 10th. We would meet for 1 hour right here on Zoom, just like we're doing tonight. You have me walking you through the visioning process. I hold you accountable to actually writing the vision. You would not believe how many people do this. They sign up for the course or the self-study, or even I send them videos, and they don't actually take the step to write the vision. So I want to hold you accountable to actually doing it. And the reason that I want to hold you accountable is because I know how powerful it is. It's an informer. It's a guide. It's an invitation. And I will help you see the impact of this work in your life. When you give somebody access to your thinking, who doesn't live in the frame of your mind, it is so much easier to see all of the ways that this is already showing up in your life. You can't read the instructions from inside the box. And you're going to have a daily visioning practice, even in the unknowing, even when the details are fuzzy. You're going to have a daily visioning practice that's going to keep you in the conversation with your voice of inspired insight. So you don't stay in the muck, you stay in the clarity. And then you get more clarity, and then you get more clarity. That is the law. That is the law of attraction. So does anyone, well, first of all, before we start this conversation, Sarah, would you please come in and introduce yourself? Let us know where you are.
Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah, and I'm actually from South Africa, but I'm currently in Lakeville, Minnesota, and I'm a nanny. And I just finished college, so I'm doing the whole nanny program. At the same time, trying to figure out what it is that I want to do, and I think at this point where I am in my life is with every experience that I go through, my mind keeps changing.
Yeah.
And it's just like I think I know what I want, and then it just changes to something else, and I just feel so lost.
Yeah.
I feel so lost, and yeah, that's where I am right now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah. And thank you for sharing so vulnerably. I know and understand where you are very well. I felt the exact same when I graduated from college. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I felt a real tug of war between what I really loved and what I thought I was supposed to do. So I really, I honor and celebrate you for being here tonight and for signing up for this webinar. It's very courageous to take these steps and to start this conversation. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So what do you all think about this? Or does anybody have any questions about about this 4-week visioning course where we meet right here on Zoom, same time, same place, And I hold you accountable to actually beginning to write a vision for your life.
I had a quick question about the visions. I feel like I don't have a linked vision with one of all of these things. I have maybe like small snippets of like, this is what I want my relationships to look like. This is what I want, but they don't link. Is that like normal? I don't know what to ask about it, but it's just, I have never had one whole vision that encompassed all those parts. I've only had little visions that maybe addressed certain aspects of those individual components, I guess.
Yeah, Mary, and well, first of all, there's nothing wrong with that. That's wonderful that you're working with vision in general. Most people weren't taught how to do this. I certainly wasn't taught how to do this before I met my mentor. The reason that I invite you into a full spectrum vision is literally to begin to see a movie of your life.
Mhm.
Not just to think in these categories or in these silos, but to begin to see it as a full spectrum life. And it does a couple things. One is that it creates a relationship between you today and the woman in your vision.
Mhm.
You're literally creating a relationship by getting a little bit more specific and a little bit more specific and a little bit more specific. It becomes something that feels normal, and actually you're building cells of recognition in your body that is your normal.
I think before I haven't had the I don't know, before, like, I guess career was always up in the air, and it still is up in the air. It's just kind of like, what do I don't know what I'm gonna end up doing, and I will do something that I'm okay with, but I don't know what that's gonna be. And I feel like I'm able to mesh around that, but I feel like I have to get to that place first.
Get to what?
Oh, well, find a career at least that I am happy with. And I don't even, I mean, I know more about what I don't want to do than what I want to do, I think. So,
And you feel like you have to get to a place where you know your career before you can know the other aspects?
just because that's how I want it to be. And I think that is part of me knowing is getting to a stable place career-wise so I can, you know, form relationships and get, you know, find someone I want to get to that place first before the other places fall in place. So
Yeah, and I so appreciate this. This is like such a great conversation because every step along the way, Mary, you're going to have all of those aspects of your life with you.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
so you're going to have a vision for all of those aspects of your life. Now, those don't go on hold while the career
Yeah.
it's the front seat. You're always going to have relationships, your health, time, and money. So that part of us that believes that I really got to focus and zone in on this one area of my life and like whatever happens with the rest. Like, and I think that's like how we think with our careers, especially. But we're going to have all of it anyway.
Mhm.
So why not build a vision for all of it?
Mhm.
And
Well-
actually, what can actually happen when you do that is that one thing can inform another. Like when you think of a calendar of your life, Mary, Monday through Sunday, and you have a dream job, even if you don't know what that is, you have a dream job. And you think about what you do if you work sort of the normal hours that most of us work in the US, like the Monday through Friday, 9 to 5-ish, you know. What are you doing on the weekend?
Working. I imagine I would still be working weekends at where I work currently. At least one day a week on the weekend. I would just like to work 2 jobs. I enjoy what I do and I don't want to give it up, but I do want a 9 to 5 as well. That's just me. I just have to stay busy. I mean, maybe it would prove to be too much and I would eventually let it go, but I do like working at the pharmacy on the weekends.
So you would love to work one day.
Oh, one day and then work another job on
So
the weekends.
you love the idea of working 7 days a week.
At least probably 6. I need one day to sleep in, probably. Go
Yeah.
to church, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and church is a social thing.
Mhm.
That's what, you have relationships at church. Sleep has to do with your health and well-being.
Mhm.
So those are all the aspects of your life.
Mhm.
But do you see, even in this conversation, the way it's hard to entertain a different reality than the one that you're living?
Yeah.
It's hard to even allow our minds to go there. It's almost like it's dangerous. It's almost like you're making a decision to let go of something in today. And I want to support you in knowing you're not. You're not doing anything dangerous here.
Mhm.
It's literally just entertaining another possibility.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean you have to take any action on it in the moment. But it's so, it has such a grip on us, what we know. This part of us that really says, well, you have evidence to believe this.
Mhm.
So don't you dare step out of the confines of this knowing. But you're gonna learn a lot of unknowing. You're gonna have a lot of experiences that you haven't yet had.
Yeah.
My job is to support you in knowing that you actually have creative ability to decide what you would love your future to look like. Tomorrow doesn't have to look like today. And in fact, that's why we were given the creative capacity, creative imagination. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you so much for sharing. This is not lightweight stuff. It feels lightweight. It feels like, yay, I'm going to go make a vision board. This will be really fun, When you really get down to it, it's inviting you to grow and expand and learn new things about yourself that otherwise you had no reason to face and to look at. It's like it kicks up a bunch of stuff that otherwise is just laying dormant. It kicks it up. And for that exact reason, most people don't do this. Most people don't do this. Most people don't sign up and say, yeah, I'm going to do it. Let's go. Because it's extremely courageous, vulnerable work. And again, it's not a matter of good and bad, right or wrong. It's choose your adventure. What is the adventure that you want to choose? Do you want to feel like the person who understands why you got a really good result and how to rinse and repeat that process so you can get another really good result? Or do you want to get a good result and say, whoo, how the hell did that happen? Hope it happens again. Right? Or do you want to be the person who's like, I know exactly how that happened. I wrote a vision for it. I wrote a vision for it and I kept working with it and I kept believing in it. And I stayed in support with it. I stayed accountable to it and I didn't let it go. In the face of the unknowing, in the face of a pandemic, in the face of throwing my vision board away, in the face of, life's pretty good. life's pretty good. What do I need to vision for? Did anybody else want to come in with a question or a comment? Is that a wrap? Oh, Sarah, come on in. Come in here.
I wanted to know, how do you, because I realize that I'm a person that like you mentioned in the beginning, someone who wants to fix everything.
Yeah.
And I realized that I'm not a superhero. And I learned that the hard way. And I just want to know, just how should I manage myself, like not lose myself in everything that I do? Because I have a habit of engaging myself passionately in whatever aspect of my life. And I start forgetting about myself, about my passions and my hobbies. And when I get a question like, what do you like to do? I feel like I've forgotten who I am. And for a moment I think, and I never had to do that. But now I have myself thinking, what do I like to do? What do I want to do? And I don't know, something has consumed me, or I've allowed something to consume me. And now I just feel like I don't know who I am, because I'm becoming who people want me to be. And I don't think I'm happy with that at all. Yeah, so how do I get out of, I don't know if that's like a real question, but
That's
how
it.
should I?
Yeah, Sarah, yeah, I just really, gosh, you just shared so vulnerably. That was massive, and I just want to acknowledge you for that. And what I want to celebrate in you is that you had the courage to say what you just said. That is so massive, Sarah, that you're here tonight and you had the courage to say what you just said. The part that feels like it's her job to fix everything, the part, I can tell you what it was in me. And it was that I believed in a God that I had to earn my existence for that God's love. That fundamental, that's the fundamental level. And the way that showed up in my life, you know, it certainly had to do with my childhood, you know, but it's not about finding that thing as much as it is understanding that you do not have to do a thing to earn your existence on this planet. And your breath is the evidence. You are breathing, you are here, and there is nothing that you have to do to earn that. And I know that we can get that on an intellectual level. But when we really know that, when we really know that in the marrow of our bones, we can begin to hear what we love. Because it's not connected to any idea that we have to earn our place. Does that make sense, Sarah?
It does, it does.
So what I would encourage you to do right now, right where you are, is to begin to work with an affirmation that there's nothing I have to do to earn my existence. I am loved unconditionally. I am fully supported and supplied. Fully. And it isn't another human being or a number in the bank account or a job title that makes you worthy. And none of that is your support and your supply. You are supported and supplied by source energy. That's the support and the supply of all of us. And when you begin to work with that, and then you say, what would Sarah love? What would
Yeah.
Sarah love tomorrow to look like?
Mhm.
What would you love for breakfast tomorrow? What would you love to do with every minute of your day tomorrow? And it doesn't mean you take action on it. It doesn't mean you flip the script and like hop off the cliff. I don't encourage you to do that. I've done it in my own life without a mentor, and it was not very fun. My encouragement is to understand that the more that you work with this and the more that you're in this conversation, you're in a holy conversation with God. Source energy, universe, all of these words to me mean the same thing. But when you understand how supplied and supported you are, and you begin to have a conversation with that energy, it begins to speak to you clearly, and your life begins to line up with it. And then you no longer feel like you don't know who you are. You know exactly who you are. You know exactly what you want. And you deserve all of it. So my encouragement for you is to work with those affirmation statements and just ask yourself the question, what would I love? Even in the smallest moments, what would I love today to be like? What would I love to happen today? If something happened totally out of the blue, what would I love that to be? And just have fun and allow yourself to answer the question and go down the imaginary rabbit hole of that question. Does that help?
It does. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Pam? Anything coming up for you? How are you doing?
Good, good. Yeah. I like this. I like thinking about what would I love.
Good. What about you, Serena?
This very much so. And there are several things I just need to sort of sit with and write out and list.
Good. Good. Well, I am so glad. I'm so glad that this served tonight. And I would love to meet all of you back here for the next 4 weeks for a 4-week visioning course. And what I'll do is I will send an email with all of the details. The investment, the monetary investment is $297. I'm going to put like a link to make that payment. If you need help like sorting through the payment, just reach out to me. Just reach out to me. But I would love to support all of you in using this power that you have. It's not random and it's not by accident. You have the ability to imagine a future that you would love to live. And I want to support you in knowing that you deserve it. You deserve all of it. And it matters. And you matter. All right.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here. Listen, ladies, this is my vision, to be sitting here with all of you. So I thank you for letting me live my vision, because you really are my vision. I dreamed all of you up, and I get to sit here with all of you. So I'm going to send out an email when we wrap up. I'll do the recording so you can watch the recording whenever you want. And then I will send the invitation to sign up for the 4-week visioning course. Oh, go ahead, Pam. Thank you. Thank you. And you know where to find me if there's anything you want to talk about. All right, ladies, have a wonderful evening. I'm so grateful and honored to have been here with you tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.